I woke up to the sound of my own front door clicking shut and found a stranger sitting in the armchair across from my bed, calmly going through my wallet. It was a Sunday, the one morning I let myself sleep in. I'd reached for the glass of water on my nightstand when I noticed him. A man in his 50s, neat gray coat, sitting like he'd been invited, slowly counting the cash from my wallet onto his knee. My first reaction was almost a laugh. I genuinely thought I was dreaming, or that a relative had let themselves in for some elaborate joke. Then he looked up and said, very softly, "Sit still, and we won't have a problem." His other hand was resting on something heavy in his coat pocket, and the shape of it killed the laugh in my throat. "Where are the deeds?" he asked. I told him I had no idea what he meant. He stood, crossed the room in 2 steps, and pressed me back against the headboard with a forearm that felt like a steel bar. "The property documents," he said, still calm, like he was reminding a child of something. "I know they're in this house. I was told exactly who you are." I searched his face and found nothing familiar, but he looked at me with this cold, settled hatred, like I'd personally ruined his life. I started to panic. He pulled a folded photograph from his pocket and held it up to my face. "This is you, isn't it?" I stared at it, and my stomach dropped through the floor. The man in the photo had my face, my exact face, down to the small scar over the left eyebrow, and that's when I knew. It was my identical twin, Idris, looking back at me from that creased paper. Suddenly, all of it made a terrible kind of sense. Idris had been leaving wreckage behind him our whole lives, and I hadn't heard a word from him in 15 years. Not since he forged our father's signature, drained the small inheritance meant for both of us, and vanished. And now, apparently, he'd swindled someone dangerous and left my face as the only address. I told the man, fast, that he had the wrong person, that the man he wanted was my brother. He didn't even blink. "Convenient," he said. "Everyone's suddenly a twin." "Look at my phone," I said. "On the nightstand. The code is 1990. There are photos. Please." He picked it up without taking his eyes off me and scrolled. I watched his jaw tighten as he saw them. Idris and me side by side at our cousin's wedding. The 2 of us as boys in matching school uniforms. A dozen frames where you could plainly see there were 2 of us, but he shook his head. "Pictures can be made to say anything." "Then call him," I said, my voice cracking. "His number's saved. Call him right now and you'll see." He hesitated, weighing it. Then he tapped the screen and held the phone up so I could see, his free hand never leaving his pocket. It rang 4 times. I was sure it would go to voicemail. Idris answered. I watched my own face appear on the screen, except older around the eyes, harder. I watched him take in the room, me pinned against the headboard, the stranger standing over me, the fear written all over my face, and his expression didn't fill with confusion. It filled with recognition. He knew exactly what this was. The first words out of his mouth were, "I'll get you the money. Every shilling this week. Just leave him out of it. He doesn't know anything. He's never known anything." The room went silent. The man studied the screen for a long moment, then ended the call without a word. He stood there over me, breathing slowly, deciding something. Then he straightened his coat, slipped my phone back onto the nightstand, and picked up the cash he'd counted out, but strangely, set it back down beside the lamp. At the bedroom door, he paused and looked back at me. Something in his face had shifted. Not an apology, but close to it. "Your brother," he said quietly, "has cost a great many people a great deal." A pause. "You've got an unlucky face." Then he was gone. I heard the front door open and close, and the house was silent again, like none of it had happened. I sat there for a long time, heart pounding, staring at the wallet emptied across the chair and the cash he'd left behind. 15 years of silence, and Idris had still found a way into my bedroom.